Greetings. This is Andrew Baker from Brainwave Consulting Company. Let's talk a little bit about compliance frameworks. Okay, so at some point in time, your small business is going to run into the position where it needs to handle regulatory compliance. And it could be a regular framework like PCI, something that everyone is familiar with and is somewhat succinct and mature format. Or it can be the newer NIST cybersecurity framework, CSF, which is again manageable. Or it can be HIPAA, which is a little bit broader and more sprawling. Or it can be the full NIST SP 800-53. We're currently on Rev 5, Revision 5. Could be that. It can be FedRAMP. You might have to do something with the U.S. federal government. And maybe you have to do something with that. That's going to be a lot of work. Ton of work. Whatever it is, it could be ISO 27001, any of those kinds of things. The key for you is, how do you go about getting your organization on board with that framework? Do you do what everyone else tries to do, which is the barest minimum necessary to pass this compliance and beyond with your day-to-day life? Or do you take it as an opportunity to make sure your processes are mature and prepare yourself for potentially other frameworks that would come into play? You should choose the latter path. Once you get into that compliance business, you're going to be in it, and there'll be other things coming your way. It does not make sense for you as an organization to just focus on the barest minimum. It does not make sense for you to do just enough to pass, because it'll be more work when you have to do the second one. And you'll find that some of the decisions you made the first time, some of the choices you made in how you did your policies will have to get updated. Why revisit that? Why go down that path? Take the opportunity when you get hit with that first compliance that you're going to have to do, whether it's because of the market you choose to play in or the customers that you end up having, and look at several of the other ones. Look at the NIST CSF. Look at PCI. Look at the SOC 2. ISO is a big one. You might not want to look at that one right away. But look at PCI, even if you don't have to be PCI compliant, even though you may not be doing anything with credit card transactions. And the reason to do all of that is because when you understand the broad strokes that the frameworks require, your processes will be broader. They will make more sense. They'll be more applicable to multiple frameworks, which means that tomorrow somebody kind of ambushes you and say, hey, if you want this $1 million deal, you need to make sure that you are certified for or could be certified against framework X. And if your framework is broad and it is based on wide industry standards, then you're in a position where you might only have to tweak one or two things, where the artifacts you're already collecting, the data you're already collecting, the reports you're already generating will support the new framework as well as the old. But if you go into it very narrow and say, okay, I just need to do, this is all I need to do to pass, this is all I'm willing to spend right now, this is all I'm willing to do, then your people are going to have to go through a whole new thing. It's going to require changing of processes, which means there'll be more mistakes because they used to do it this way, and then you changed them a few months ago, and now you have to change them again. And it's just going to be harder on you, whereas your ability to adapt to other security and compliance requirements will be a lot better. You'll be a lot more flexible, a lot more agile, a lot more adept if, in fact, you go into it and look at all of the frameworks collectively, not all, 2 or 3 of them, and you say, okay, what are they asking for? What's the gist of what I need to do here? What would satisfy both of these commands in a reasonable way? What would satisfy both of these objectives in a reasonable way? And then tailor your processes around that. If you come at it from that perspective, you're going to be more successful. And in the long run, you'll spend less time and less money for better results. Thank you for your time. Speak to you later.